Welcome back to Couch Football. You're here with Luke, Ryan, Caleb, and Robers. And we are about to go over the NFL Top 100 list so far. There's still 7 places that need to be revealed. And then we are going to close out with a 3-round fantasy mock draft. Half PPR draft, it is. What's that, Ryan?
Huh? I didn't say anything. I am amazed that we have 4 people on. This is awesome.
We have 4 people sometimes. Okay, so the NFL Top 100 list is going on. Now, a reminder, this is a player-voted list, so it's the NFL players themselves are the ones deciding it, which is why some things can look a little lopsided. I'm going to go down the list, and I'll shout out some highlights before we get into it. Bryce Young debuted on the list for the first time at 98. Montez Sweat, 91. Kyron Williams, 89. Teteroa McMillan, the rookie of the year, 87. A.J. Brown, 80. Travis Kelce fell 42 spots to 79. Josh Jacobs fell 41 spots to 74. Lamar Jackson fell 67 spots to 69. He was second last year. He's 69 now. Kevin Byard, 61. Just shouting him out because I'm a Bears fan. Jalen Hurts fell 37 spots at 56. CeeDee Lamb fell 20 spots to 55. Caleb Williams went from not ranked to 51, and he's on the Madden cover. Curse incoming. Joe Tooney, 49. Protector of the year, don't you know? Best offensive lineman in the league. Zach Bond fell 19 spots to 45. Joe Burrow fell 38 spots to 44. TJ Watt fell 30 spots to 41. And George Pickens went from not ranked to 36. Saquon Barkley fell 33 spots to 34.
Man.
For those,
maybe age is a factor.
For those of you at home, he was number 1 last year. Okay, and getting into the top 25, Max Crosby was at 24. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 22. Sam Darnold, 21. James Cook, 20. Justin Jefferson, 19. Patrick Mahomes fell 13 spots to 18. Jonathan Taylor went from not ranked to 17th. Jamar Chase fell 12 spots to 16th. Trey McBride moved up 42 spots to 13th. Drake May went from not ranked to 11th overall. Jahmyr Gibbs he moved up 18 spots and went to number 9. And then today they revealed Micah Parsons moved up 28 spots to 8th. So the players that will be in the top 7 in no particular order are Josh Allen, Myles Garrett, Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, JSN, and Matthew Stafford. Okay, so given this players list, what sounds right to you guys? What do you think they got wrong? Who do you think could have been higher? Who do you think could have been lower? Stuff like that. Looking for an open discussion. So, whoever wants to go first.
Well, I'm kind of amazed that Christian McCaffrey is still all the way up there, and they dropped Saquon 30 spots when you got running backs probably about the similar skill level, Well, McCaffrey maybe a couple more years in his career, but I don't think that makes sense to rank McCaffrey that high and then drop Saquon.
Well, as the resident Christian McCaffrey fan, I think Ryan's wrong, as usual. I do always have a question with the top 100 list, though. I know this is like the top 100, best players in the league, right? So how much does last year actually play into this list?
Well, Micah Parsons tore his ACL before the season was even over and moved up 28 spots.
Right, that's what I mean. So I don't know. I'm always a little bit not quite understanding what they're looking at here, but with Christian McCaffrey, I do think he belongs quite a bit higher than Saquon because A, I had Saquon last year in fantasy and he was trash, and B, Christian McCaffrey was his whole team. The 49ers had injuries all year long. Brock Purdy was out for a while. George Kittle was out for a while. Wide receivers were in and out the entire year. He was essentially their whole offense. He was their target leader by far. He touched the ball. I think he had 125 scrimmage yards average per game this last year. He was just a monster. So I do think like when you're a whole team's offense, you do belong really high on the list. So I think that's the difference to me with Saquon. Saquon, I do think he's maybe a little bit low just based on he wasn't good. Like I said, he was trash, but he's still one of the best players. He's still like I would say a top 3 running back in the NFL. And they've got Gibbs and McCaffrey over him and Achane. I don't know. I'd probably put Barkley over Achane right now, but that's just me.
Barkley went from the number 1 player to 34 in a year.
Also, James Cook, I know he went up 69 spots to the 20th spot, and
Nice.
deservingly so. He had a good season, but if you have Josh Allen on your team, it's kind of like an asterisk next to your name because everybody's always afraid he's going to run. So you just have more opportunities.
Yeah, but Josh Allen also steals all the rushing touchdowns.
He does do that, yes.
Yeah. So there are a couple things that are interesting. Jared Goff falling 18 spots to 33. I feel like that's a little disrespectful. I don't really understand. I mean, Jared Goff has consistently been probably the most disrespected quarterback in the league, in my opinion. The dude is super consistent. He is constantly in like the top 5 in every major passing stat, and the dude is never in any real MVP talks. He's never. I mean, the players ranked him 33, so there you go. George Pickens going from not ranked to 36th, I think that was well deserved. I think that it's a little bit interesting that he's higher than CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb's at 55. Do you guys agree with that? You think Pickens should have been that much higher than CeeDee Lamb?
That's what's hard is like he played better than him last year, right? But is he a better receiver than CeeDee Lamb? I mean, if I was starting a team, I'd probably rather have CeeDee Lamb over George Pickens personally. So I'd probably have CeeDee Lamb higher. But that's what I mean.
I agree. I agree with that, Caleb.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of this is like just recency bias.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
You can't have a player like how would you rank Saquon number 1 and then out of nowhere he's like all the way in the 30s? Like he didn't fall off that much. They probably had an inefficient offense, but like that's a lot, man.
Well, and that's why are we taking just the last year into account, or are we taking their full career? I mean, you would assume it's their full career, but with the recency bias, it kind of feels like that played into it a little bit.
part of it does seem to be who makes headlines as well. So I already mentioned it once, but Micah Parsons climbing all the way up to number 8, despite getting injured in early December, or it might have been late November. He climbed up 28 spots. Part of that is just because the dude was a tabloid machine right off the bat, getting traded to Green Bay. So like when you're so talked about in the news and stuff, I feel like it's not necessarily what he was doing on the field that got him the spot that he's at. He still had, I think it was either his most efficient year or it was one of his most efficient years. He was on pace for his personal season high in I think most of his stats, including sacks. But dude didn't finish the season. Ended with 12.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, decent stats. It's a shame he got injured. But yeah, I don't know if climbing. I think Micah in the top 20, I agree with, but being in the top 10, being number 8 seems like getting traded right before the season started had a lot more to do with it than anything else.
But I think that argument is tough because AJ Brown was constantly in the news and he got traded and he fell quite a few spots.
Well,
yeah. So
if you look at the Eagles players, like every Eagles player fell.
right, because their offense was just not really that great last year.
Yeah, and they won the Super Bowl last year, or 2 years ago. So
yeah.
I think that definitely is part of it. So because Hurts is down, I don't even know if Devontae Smith was ranked. I didn't see him. So yeah, every Eagles player's fallen.
Yeah, looking at this list, I'd love to do an analysis sometime on players that have a new offensive coordinator or they lose their offensive coordinator or a new head coach and just see what the effect is. Because like Saquon Barkley dropping, he went from 1 to 34. Well, they got a new offensive coordinator, and their offense was really not efficient last year. It wasn't good at all, right? And then you got some players like, Sam Darnold, with Mike McDonald, he went up 20, 51 spots. It is funny how big of a difference a good offensive coordinator makes with these guys, because like a good offense is going to make the player themselves look a lot better on offense.
Yeah. And then how do you guys feel about? I'm gonna name a couple players off, and I'm just gonna get your guys' opinion on it. How do you guys feel about Brock Bowers falling 36 spots to 60? He was dealt a tough hand being on the Raiders.
Yeah, that's where it's like, I think he's a great tight end, but he's on. This year will tell us a lot about Brock Bowers, I think. But I think it's fair if you're looking at he's only been in the league for 2 years, right? And he fell off quite a bit, so
He
seems
was
about right.
injured for a couple of games last year too.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Trevor Lawrence went from unranked to 62. Does that feel like a good spot for him?
It's weird
Jags
because
made
I
the
feel
playoffs.
like. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, that's all I had to say. I mean, they're in the playoffs and quarterback's the leader of the team. Then yeah, it makes sense that he gets at least to there.
I feel like that's where the scenario of a lot of hype goes into play because, I mean, they were good, but I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was that phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a perfect example again of Liam Cohen, right? So it's a new head coach, offensive-minded head coach, and suddenly Trevor Lawrence is pretty good. And it was funny watching that playoff game against the Bills. If he didn't make that mistake, I don't remember if it was on fourth down or what, but he didn't get the first down. If they don't make that mistake, they probably beat the Bills. So they were a good team.
Would they beat the Broncos though?
I mean, that game should just be thrown out. So
That's the game that we won't speak of. That game is right up there with Saints Rams, the no call PI in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then last one I wanted to touch on was Lamar Jackson falling 67 spots, going from number 2 to 69. Now, obviously missed a lot of time with injury. Still had 21 passing touchdowns, had 2,500 passing yards. Only 2 rushing touchdowns for Lamar, which is, I believe, his career low.
Yeah, he just wasn't right last year. I think he was injured more than he was letting on, and he was playing injured. I just don't think he was right. Same thing with Roma Dunze. I think both those players were just injured and they weren't playing right.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely true for Roma Dunze.
Yeah, I apologize for drafting them.
You're always trying to screw our Bears players.
Hey, Loveland still popped off, man. No, but I feel like Lamar Jackson is the black version of Josh Allen, respectfully, because both of them essentially carry their team. And if they don't perform well, their team just is non-existent. And then they'll just suck in the playoffs when it actually matters, depending on who they face. So essentially, it's kind of like, why would you drop Lamar that far down, just because of an off year kind of thing?
He's going to have to keep carrying the team because they're spending all their cap on Zay Flowers.
That is true.
Rightfully so. Flowers is a great receiver. Almost the best in the league, but, he's not quite top tier.
Okay. So let's get into speculating how the rest of this is going to pan out. So I already mentioned the players: Josh Allen, Myles Garrett, Christian McCaffrey, Puka Nacua, Bijan Robinson, JSN, Matthew Stafford. First of all, who do you guys think is actually going to end up being number 1?
I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Robert.
I was gonna say Josh Allen, just because didn't he win the MVP last year?
No. Matthew Stafford won MVP.
I still think they're gonna put Josh Allen first, though.
Yeah, I think it should be Christian McCaffrey for all the reasons I said earlier.
Caleb, you are such a 49ers fan.
But it's not going to be. I think it's going to be Myles Garrett. He got the single season sack record last year, second most tackles for loss ever. Also, I think it'll be Myles Garrett this next year right now.
Okay, I will go now because I think it should be Myles Garrett, and I think it will be Myles Garrett. The last time a defensive player was number one, I believe it was the last time a defensive player was number one, would have been Aaron Donald when he was a defensive player of the year, cleaning it up in 2018. And I think Myles Garrett was more dominant this last year than Aaron Donald was that year. Now, he plays edge rusher, and Garrett was a tackle. A little bit different. Or, not Garrett. Aaron Donald was a tackle, so a little different. Donald was getting triple teamed on every single play and was still wrecking the game. But Myles Garrett set the sack record. I wish he would have done it weeks prior to when he actually did it, because now he has to deal with all the people saying, oh, well, he got an extra game. And that is just going to be... That's just always going to be the case for single-season records from here on out. Anytime a record gets set on that extra week, it's constantly going to be compared... Or people are constantly just going to be bringing up, oh, well, they got an extra week. But I think it should be Myles Garrett, and I think it will be Myles Garrett. And I think he's got everything going for him for him to be ranked number one. So he had a record-breaking season. He was the best part of a bad team, but he would also be the best part of a good team. And then also he had a blockbuster trade happen, which, gets you in the news, gets you notoriety, just like it worked, just like with Micah Parsons. So I think I don't know if you can bet on top 100, but if I could, I'd be putting my money down on Myles Garrett.
Luke, you're so close to being right. Like, you're right that it's going to be Myles Garrett, but you're wrong that it should be Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, it shouldn't be Christian McCaffrey. That would be wrong.
You're so close, because here's the thing about Myles Garrett. Great player, like definitely top of the league for sure. Had a great season, single season sack record, all that stuff, right? But his team was trash. Okay. And if you take Christian McCaffrey off the 49ers,
I'm sorry. What did the 49ers do in the playoffs last year?
If you take
they weren't there.
Hang on. Yeah, they were. The 49ers, they won 12 games. They lost to the Seahawks in the playoffs. They beat who was it they beat? They beat a team in the play, or the Eagles. They beat the Eagles in the playoffs. By the way, if you take Christian McCaffrey off their team, they were 12 and 6 or 12 and 5, I believe. Yeah, 12 and 5. If you take Christian McCaffrey off their team, they're 6 and 10 or 6 and 11, guaranteed. There's no way. He was their entire offense.
Yeah, you are right. They were in the playoffs, but I forgot about it because they got stomped by the same team that stomped them a week prior.
They got stomped by the Super Bowl champion, and they beat the Eagles. They won a round. What are you talking about?
Eagles beat themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Ryan, who's your number one?
I'm just going to piggyback on one of you guys. Can you pick which one it is? You all have made good points, but I think Rober's made the best point, and because he picked Josh Allen. Josh Allen has been undervalued, partially because of his receiving core, and now he has a decent receiver. You can say that DJ Moore is average or above average, but he has an actual receiver, like when he had Stephon Diggs back in the day. So his numbers are just going to skyrocket this year. I believe he'll be undervalued slightly, and he'll get the number one slot.
Okay. And then to close this segment out, I'll just say, so there's 3 spots left until you enter the top 5. Should JSN be in the top 5?
I think he will be, personally.
I said should he?
Oh, should he?
Do you know if Cooper Kupp was in the top 5 a number of years ago? Because I kind of looked at JSN like Cooper Kupp had a couple back-to-back phenomenal seasons, and if JSN starts this way, it makes sense that he'd go top 5 or be in the top 5.
Well, how about this? Who will be higher, Puka Nacua or JSN?
Yeah, just that.
I think it'll be JSN because he won Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah. I think they'll put JSN higher as well.
But I think they are neck and neck. And every time their teams play each other, they both pop off.
Oh yeah, dude, I won like $400 on a $10 bet last year because I bet on the over on Fuka and JSN.
And
Alternate
then
line, baby.
And then to close off a position battle for here, who should be ranked higher between Chris McCaffrey and Bijan Robinson?
Caleb, you want to go first, or can we
We
just
we
skip
already
it?
know Caleb's answer.
Okay,
Somebody else
okay.
can.
Bijan Robinson. Are you talking about the best running back in the league? Where should we rank him?
He's ranked 9.
Should he be ranked above Christian McCaffrey, though, is the question. He's the best running back between the tackle. I mean, kind of hard not to put him above Christian McCaffrey. The only reason Christian McCaffrey would go above Bijan is the utility he gives you in the passing game. And I don't know if Bijan has really had that opportunity to showcase it.
Bijan gets split out wide though, and he can run receiver routes. He's no slouch in the receiving game.
Maybe I need to watch some Falcons games this year because I've never seen them.
They're terrible.
Wide,
they're always terrible.
Did you know that Christian McCaffrey had a full 46 points more in fantasy than Bijan Robinson last year? That's one of his
because they gave him the ball every play.
He also has a way better coaching staff, a better offensive line, and I believe they had a better schedule.
How many points per touch did he get?
They didn't have a better schedule. They played the NFC West. That's way harder than the NFC South.
That's just because it's the division they're in.
I know. That's my point, though. They had to play all those teams 6 times, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, the other point still stands. Way better coaching staff, way better offensive-minded guru, and it's got to be a better line. The Falcons line is terrible.
Yeah, I mean they do have, when they had Trent Williams, it was a lot better for sure.
I think they'll probably rank Christian McCaffrey just because of how well he performed last season. So I think it'll be him. I think Bijan definitely is probably. It's hard because both of them are kind of like the workhorses of their teams. Like there's Drake London also, but sometimes he's injured as well, and he's not really there as much. I think this year will definitely be kind of like a great way to determine that. But again, this is based on a lot of recency bias. And from your previous question, like they'll probably rank JSN above Puka, but I don't think he should actually be there.
I think that one is super close. I think they are neck and neck. I think Bijan should be ranked higher than CMC. Because I do think I think if you put Bijan on the 49ers, I think he would have better stats than what McCaffrey did last year. Because he's in the prime of his career, and Chris McCaffrey is aging. What is McCaffrey, 29 now? 29, 30? Bijan is in his actual prime, and I think he's a much more physical runner, but I also think that he has every move a running back could possibly ask for. Okay. Closing statements on the top 100.
Just a question. Caleb Williams 51. Too high?
I forgot to touch on this. So
that's above Trevor Lawrence, right?
Yeah,
it's above Lawrence.
It's above Lawrence. It's above Bryce Young. It's above Jordan Love. It's above Bo Nix, I believe. I will say
Bo Nix got slighted.
Yeah, I will say Bo Nix at 5. Like, I feel like just because he's in the same draft class as Caleb Williams, and I'm a Bears fan, I feel like I have to somewhat be annoyed when Bo Nix comes into conversations because people, it's inevitable. You're always going to get, the Bears should have drafted so-and-so instead of Caleb Williams, so on and so on. But Bo Nix, I think, is an extremely underrated quarterback, especially right now. If his injury wouldn't have happened, the Broncos might have won the Super Bowl. They definitely would have put up a lot more of a fight than the Patriots did. So, Bo Nix at 59, after making the playoffs the last 2 years as a rookie and a second-year QB, I think that's I do think that's a little disrespectful. Going back to Caleb Williams, though, so 51, I will say this. I think it's fair. I was just a little surprised that he was considered lower half. Just because of there's a lot of hype. He got the Madden cover, obviously. I think he turned a lot of heads in the playoffs. So they had it was must see TV. They had the 21-3 comeback. That was a Saturday night. The whole nation watched that. A lot of people got into that game. And then there was even the Rams game. There was the ridiculous 4th down play. So I think he turned a lot of heads. And this list is definitely more of a popularity contest than anything else. So I was a little surprised to see he was lower half, but I think it's a fair spot. That's my opinion on it.
What do you think, Ryan?
What I think, I said I think you should be a little lower, but that's just my opinion. We haven't seen too much. Give a full year before you bump them up that much, is my opinion. But nobody listens to me. They should.
Let's see. I do want to check and see who was the highest player that wasn't ranked the previous year. Okay. Yeah. Well. Yeah. That's obvious.
It's Drake May, right?
Yeah. Drake May went from not ranked to 11th. So
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Caleb, what's your opinion on Caleb Williams being 51?
So, it's interesting. Do I think he's one of the top 50 players in the NFL? I'll plead the fifth. Give me another year. I got to see it another year, right? Because I'm just used to. I trust Ben Johnson. I trust the offense, and I do think he is capable to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I do think that's true. That being said, is he there yet? I don't know. I don't think I'd put him. I don't think I'd put him in the top 50 players right now. But I was a little surprised he was bottom half on this list, because this list, as Rober said, is so heavily influenced by like the media and who's currently hot and all those things, right? So I kind of thought he'd be higher just for those reasons, because like you said, Luke, everything was must see TV with the Bears. So I thought he'd be a little higher on this list, but I don't think he's quite top 50 right now. 51, so I felt okay. I think this next year though, I think he'll skyrocket. I think he'll be like probably low 20s this next year.
We'll see. Packers fans on Twitter are already saying he's due for regression because he went 2 for 5 in the preseason game.
I saw that 2 for 5, man. What a trash quarterback.
It's always fun to go on Twitter during preseason. Okay, let's go ahead and jump to our mock draft. So we are going to do a 3-round mock draft. To accommodate it, we have 2 flex spots and 1 super flex. This is a half PPR league. I will be drafting first overall. This is 12 teams, half PPR. I will be drafting first overall. Robers is drafting 6th. Caleb is drafting 10th. And Ryan is undecided.
I am undecided, you say? It looks like I'm slotted in at number 2.
Pick a spot not next to me.
Let everyone know this is anarchy. I wanted to be 2, and now I'm claiming 4.
All right. So we're going to start this off. We have 2 minutes per pick, so you have 2 minutes to state your case for who you're drafting, why you're drafting them, so on and so forth. I'll go ahead and start it off. So I went with first pick because I wanted to weigh in on my opinion on first overall. So Gibbs and Bijan Robinson, they have been switching all over the place over the course of the offseason. At one point, Bijan was ranked number 1. Right now, Gibbs is ranked number 1. It's tough to say. Both of these guys have new backups behind them on the depth chart. And I like both of them. And this is a case where I don't think you're actually going to go wrong with either one. I just think one is going to slightly do better than the other. And for me, personally, I'm going to go with Gibbs. And the reason I'm going with Gibbs, it comes down to 2 things. Number 1, the Lions' schedule. The Lions have most favorable schedule in the NFL, and that includes the run defense that they're going up against. They're much more favorable than what the Falcons have to play. And then also, the second thing is it is the new acquisitions. I am a lot less afraid of Isaiah Pacheco. I do think that he'll have some good games, just working in the Lions offense. It's a very run-heavy offense. But Brian Robinson backing up Bijan actually does scare me a lot more than Pacheco scares me when it comes to Gibbs. Brian Robinson, I think, could be a starting running back on a lot of other NFL teams. So, and we saw Tyler Algier steal a lot from Bijan last year. I don't think that Isaiah Pacheco is as good as David Montgomery is. So while I do think he might have his moments, I think that he will have less production than David Montgomery, which means Gibbs is going to be even better. So I'm going with Gibbs. All right, Bijan and Puka Nacua go next, and now we're to Ryan.
And I have the option to go receiver or running back. We have Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, and Jonathan Taylor. And for this pick at number 4, little difficult. And if you're unsure on what to pick when it's your pick, I would go consistency, and I would go what position is harder to find. Hard to find a good running back later in the draft. So I'm going running back. Jonathan Taylor. He's got a quarterback, which Danny Dimes is his second year in the offense. I presumably would do better. I think he's a decent spot. You're not going to go wrong with him in the first round.
Ryan passes up on McCaffrey. McCaffrey goes next, and now we are to Rovers.
So real quick, did you guys see McCaffrey's note on his player profile right now? It's Christian McCaffrey's absence part of the plan. And then it says, let's say San Francisco 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey, undisclosed, said his absence in training camp was always part of the plan to have him ready for week 1. Dude, nobody's believing this stuff since that fleece happened a few years ago. Everybody's terrified. Anyway.
All right, Rovers. Caleb, you cut into Rovers time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, for this pick, I mean, Jamar Chase fell down to me, so it's kind of like an easy pick of just going with him. I think what Ryan stated earlier is that it's kind of like a steep drop off with like running backs. And like the first 2 rounds, if you don't get a good one, man, it's gonna suck. But when you have a good player like Chase fall down to you, it's easy to just go ahead and pick him.
All right, Rovers is not afraid of a little hyperextended name. All right, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Saquon Barkley, and JSN all go next, and we are to Caleb.
All right, yeah. So I was hoping St. Brown would fall to me, but that dream was crushed. Then JSN almost got to me, which would have been cool too. But so now I actually picked 10 because I think this is the hardest spot in the draft to draft in general. But in this case, yeah, I'm looking at James Cook and I'm looking at CeeDee Lamb. I do think Justin Jefferson will be better this year with Kyler throwing to him. I think at this point, though, I'm going to take the touchdown upside with James Cook. You guys have said there's a lot of running back drop-off. That is true. So we'll go with James Cook here and see what we get on the turn.
All right, CeeDee Lamb, Derrick Henry, and Justin Jefferson go next, and Omarion Hampton as well. Back to Caleb.
Gianti's right there for you, Caleb.
So I was really hoping that either Lamb or Jefferson would fall to me, and neither of them did. So top players I'm looking at right now. So you got GNT at 13. Yeah, that's a little bit scary because I don't know the extent of his injury.
His industry.
Right. He's in the business.
Man of business.
Right.
Business is booming.
H-Chan there, which scares me a little bit being on Miami. Chase Brown, Ken Walker's dealing with his own injury right now too. They said it's not serious, but man, I tell you, as a former Ken Walker owner last year, injuries, they just seem to follow him around. That being said, man, AJ Brown at 19, I don't love that, and it's too early to take Josh Allen. Man, this is a rough spot. I don't really want to go. Okay. All right, I'm going to take the upside, the receiving upside. Is this a half-point PPR?
This is half-point PPR.
Okay. All right, in that case, I'm going to take. You know what? I'm going to reach a little bit. I'm going to take the positional advantage with Brock Bowers.
All right.
If this were PPR, I would have taken Chase Brown there.
All right, Genty goes next, then AJ Brown and Chase Brown, and now we are to Rovers.
Gosh darn it! I was hoping Chase would actually fall down to me. Dude, Brock Bowers this early
just want a team
is
of
insane.
Bengals.
Yeah.
No, I just didn't want to leave without a running back in the second round. and I'm not drafting HN, but also Chase is the only one that was left so far that would have a good kind of upside and everything like that without super fear of injuries. Um, yeah, I'm definitely not drafting HN at this point.
Definitely not. That's
No,
Willis is going to do wonders. Open up the running game for him.
dude, that offense is going to be a cluster and poop show.
Cluster of good people.
I feel like the first two rounds, I don't know. I'd be willing to skip HN. I know Caleb mentioned the injuries or whatnot, but I kind of feel like I would be okay with drafting Ken Walker, and that's kind of who I'm going to rely on hope, just because he doesn't really have too much competition, and the offense will be good.
All right.
Sorry.
Josh Allen goes next, which was going to be Ryan's pick, and now Ryan's on the clock.
Dang it. They stole the top 100 number one pick from me. Jeez. Well, there's nothing more I can do here except follow Caleb's advice. And that advice was, when there's nothing else to do, gain positional advantage. So I am grabbing Trey McBride here.
Dang.
It's not a bad idea. That's what's funny is, like, I know you said it was kind of wild, Rovers, that I picked Bowers there. But the thing is, if you like a player and you're on the end, either end, you have to reach because they're never going to come around to you. You know what I mean?
It's very true. I don't know so both of those two premium tight ends, it's just very hard because Bowers had that injury, so you are kind of like weary of him being injured again.
Right.
And then Trey McBride, bro, does anybody really trust their offense this season? It seems like everybody's down on it. So that's why I'm like,
well,
did you draft him
just hasn't reported to camp yet, right? Is that what
Say that again?
Has Brissett played in any preseason games? I thought he was holding out for a better contract, and that's why there's some.
I think they gave him something, and he reported, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay. I'm good. I'm doubling up here now, and these will be my last two picks. I know I got to get a receiver here, and it's tough because it is the conundrum of, would you rather have the number one receiver on a team with bad quarterback play, or would you rather have a guy that's in a wide receiver duo? He could, 1A, 1B situation, but has a solid QB. And in the past, I usually would have gone with the former, but I feel like in the last year, I have become more of a I've become more of a fan of going after, say, a T. Higgins type player, and that is kind of how I view George Pickens. I think George Pickens is T. Higgins on steroids. I don't think he's actually on steroids because that would be a PED violation, and then I wouldn't have him for a couple weeks this year. But I'm going to go with George Pickens because that Falcons quarterback situation is rough. I don't know if you guys have been looking at it, but it looks like the Falcons had every intention of naming Tua the starter, but Tua has been so bad in training camp and the preseason games that they can't officially even name him the starter right now without catching everything possible that could be thrown at them by the fans.
Yeah, Luke, I have a philosophy that I live my life by in fantasy football, and that philosophy is never draft Drake London.
Hey, Drake London was on a championship team of mine 2 years
It certainly
ago.
will.
Did you see the clip of Tua dancing while he was like throwing passes or whatever?
I have not seen that.
All right, I'll send it to you when I find it again.
Okay, so now it's too far. If Trey McBride would have fallen to me, I would have taken him here. It's too far down the list for me to go with Lamar.
I mean, Luke, you said that you've warmed up on drafting T. Higgins-like players. You know who's still available.
I'm not taking T. Higgins in the third.
He's not coming back to you.
Not coming back to you.
Anyways, that is true. When you're drafting first overall or 12th overall, sometimes you just got to shoot your shot. But so I think here I'm going to go with a running back because it would 24 picks from now, if this was a real draft, 24 picks from now, your options are going to be slim pickings for running backs. And yes, this is a year where it does kind of feel like you need to stack up on running backs in the early rounds because it gets rough later on. So I'm looking at Kyron Williams, I'm looking at Jeremiah Love, and I'm looking at Josh Jacobs. Jacobs is going to get suspended probably. Jeremiah Love, I don't love the timeshare he's in, and I don't love the team he's on. Bad offensive line and whatnot. Kyron Williams, I'm a little afraid of Blake Corum, but I do think he's the best of this bunch, and I do think he's a talented running back, so I'm going to go with Kyron Williams. All right, Colson Loveland, Lamar Jackson go next, and we're back to Ryan.
Just think, I could have grabbed Loveland and doubled up. I mean, would have been invincible.
Ultra positional advantage.
Okay. Now, there comes a point in the draft where you think, hey, has a player dropped far enough to be valuable? And Drake London is still here. He was pick number 20, and we're at pick, 26 right now? So he's dropped a couple positions.
Don't do it, Ryan. This is the trap.
Very, very good receiver when we look at the questionable, quarterback play. And so regardless if Tua or Penix is QB, I am more than confident that Drake London will at least be passable. Will he be good enough for a wide receiver 1? There's potential. So I think Drake London would be a great pick here, but sometimes you got to go with the heart. And so we're drafting Chris Olave.
You know what? I almost called you doing that.
Right. Bravo.
If there was a 4th round, Ryan was going to take Tyler Shuck. All right, Drake London goes next, and now we're to Rovers for his final pick.
All right, let's see here. We have Jeremiah Love, Mr. Suspension himself, and Mr. Probably going to jail.
I believe he prefers Mr. Strangulation.
Brees Hall is still on the board too.
Got some options.
You can clearly see I'm thinking about running backs.
I don't know why.
If this was 4 rounds, I think I would have probably waited to see if Jeremiah Love would come back to me, so I would have probably drafted him in the 4th round. But man, I'm gonna draft another running back, but the options are slim here. Should I reach for Scatterbo? Scatterbo's doing backflips on my knees.
I mean, do you need a really good running back for 2 weeks, then never again the rest of the season?
That's actually very true. Should I? Yeah, man, because I don't know how much I got to rely on Ken Walker, dude. So, all right, Brees Hall it is.
All right, Tyler Warren.
I don't love it, but
Burrow and Drake May go next.
Okay, Drake May going in the 3rd round is crazy. He's going over so many other quarterbacks who are way better than him. That just doesn't make any sense.
Hey, Caleb, you don't understand the schedule.
Doesn't make any sense, man.
Drake, the schedule may.
All right, so I'm sitting here. I've got James Cook and Brock Bowers. I got a turn there, and I've got a number of running backs I still like in this group here. So I'm actually going to go with a wide receiver. Looking at Malik Neighbors or Rashee Rice here. Neighbors, coming off the injury kind of scares me with that whole situation. Rashee Rice just scares me with his situations in general. I think here I'm going to take the potential for the wide. When I think about these wide receivers, I think about who could potentially be the wide receiver 1, right? And I don't think Rashee Rice could be. I think Malik Neighbors could be if he's healthy. I'm going to try. So we'll go with Malik.
That was loud. Okay. Caleb.
Yes, sir.
Mute your phone. All right. Colson Loveland went at the beginning of the 3rd. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's been climbing all season, honestly. He just keeps going up the ADP board.
Okay, so final rosters. I had Gibbs, George Pickens, and Kyron Williams. Ryan had Jonathan Taylor, Trey McBride, Chris Olave. Robers had Jamar Chase, Kenneth Walker, and Brees Hall. And Caleb had James Cook, Brock Bowers, Malik Neighbors. All right, so I obviously get an A+.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan can have you can have a B-.
Dude, and Luke's rating, that for anyone else, that's an A+. So that's pretty good.
Not bad.
Ooh, guys, I have the option to convert this to a league. Huh? Three slot league, no bench.
Might as well.
You gotta live on the edge in this league.
Let's just say I really hope that Malik Neighbors is healthy then.
And you can't drop players.
It's like one of those single stat DraftKings contests is what it is.
You know what sold me on Malik Neighbors? His latest news is Malik Neighbors leaves practice early, not injury related. He just decided to leave early. He's like, I'm done with this.
He said, I have a dentist appointment. I have to get an emergency crown put on.
It's like he was seen flipping the bird from his car.
So, looking at this draft board, do you guys think that any of these players, any of these AI CPU drafted teams, do you think any of them are better than any of the teams that we drafted?
Obviously not.
Ridiculous. I do think that Team 2 has a good thing going on. They got Bijan Robinson, Nico Collins, and Chris Colson Loveland. But then Team 5, CMC, Josh Allen, and Drake London. So they got Drake London for a steal at the 3-5. Josh Allen, I probably could have done without. I probably would have gone running. Like, if this was a real draft and I was in that slot, I probably would have gone Achane. But, yeah. So I think
Team 10 is solid. If you look at them, Cook, Bowers.
I think that this is a year where I would want to be either drafting 5th, 6th, or 7th looking at this.
Did you guys see that CJ Stroud is angling to make $70 million a year?
I did not see that.
I did not. That's insane.
How many QBs are making 60?
That would be the top mark. But the crazy thing is this, right? So he's telling the Texans he wants $70 million a year. The funny thing is, if he hit free agency, he'd probably get it because so many teams are like really need a quarterback. And how much did Deshaun make, right? But
that's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, man. You hit free agency at the right time. Yeah, I thought that was wild.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that is going to do it for this episode. We have, I think all 4 of us have an auction draft tomorrow. That for some reason is going to be starting super late. Thanks a lot, Caleb.
Yeah, thanks, Caleb.
How do you blame me?
Ryan, we all know you're just going to skip it and then join the league later.
Yep, that's pretty much the plan.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for listening, and we will be back doing weekly episodes come week 1 of the NFL season.
Nice.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.